Now friends, with an assumption that you had liked all the previous recording of mine, let me move on to unit number 3, supply. Now the first topic being introduction. As you know, we spoke about demand all this time. Now we are coming to the side of the sellers. All this time we were talking about the buyers. Now we are moving on to the term supply, which is very much related to the producers or the sellers. What does the word supply tells us? The supply means the amount of a product or a good or a service that the producers or the sellers willing to offer to the market at various prices at a given particular time. That is, in an available time, how much of the commodity is being available in the market by the sellers or by the business firm or by the producers is called as supply. Now, these three important points are needed to be understood when we talk about supply. Supply, as I told you, refers to the quantity that is available in the market, but at the same time, it does not mean as the number of items that are sold. It talks about only the number of items that are ready to be sold. Secondly, supply is the ability to give the number of items and at the same time the willingness to make these items saleable. The primary influence, that is, this number of items that are ready to be sold in the market is often being determined by the cost. The production cost is the supreme factor which affect the number of items that are to be sold in the market. Thirdly, supply is a continuous flow in a given period of time. So per day or per week or per month or per year or per hour, what is the number of units that is available in the market is called as supply. Now the determinants of supply. We understood that the number of quantity that has been readily available for sale is at the hands of the willingness and desire with the sellers. Here the important point that to be taken for consideration is price. Though price is one of the major factor, there are other determinants also. So let us see one after the other. Now first one is, as we said, the foremost factor, price of the goods. Other things when we assume to be the same, the price of the goods when it is higher, the seller will send more number of goods to the market. The more the price of the commodity that is offered by the buyer, the more the commodity that will be offered to be sold by the seller, because the seller aims at earning more profit, and since he aims at making higher profit, he will like to sell it at a higher price only. So that is the first determinant. Second determinant is another important factor related to price. It is the price of the related commodity. If the price of the other goods increase, then relatively the firm will think that it will be more profitable to produce this particular product that has been talked about in more quantities and try to sell it at the market, so that since the customers who are not ready to buy the other product for which price has increased, they will come towards buying of this books. So when the cost production is cheaper, he will try to sell at the maximum quantity. Next, third one is prices of the factors of production. Any production, as we have already seen, needs wages for the laborer, raw material, and the prices given for it, and the interest rate. So the lower input cost, if it is, the producer will try to produce in more large number of quantities, and he will try to sell it in more number of quantities. So if a price of a particular factor increases in the cost of the making of the goods, so the cost of production will relatively affect the selling price also. But at the same time, if a factor of production increases, the seller will try to use only a less amount of that factor which is increased in its expenditure. Say for example, if an agriculture wants to do agriculture as his business, and the land price is very high, he may not go for agriculture. Instead, he may use the land for producing other items which does not incur such heavy amount of land cost. So the price of the factor of production is also to be considered when fixing the price of the product, and it also affects the supply. The next one is state of technology. The new usages of technology may reduce the production cost, thereby it might also increase the production. So new inventions, new techniques may help the seller to improve the quality and quantity supplied at a time, and he can even use a substitution factor instead of the expensive factor, and this can also affect the supply. The next is government policy. Time to time the government may allow to sell a product, or it may restrict the production of such factors, such a product. So this also might affect the selling of the product. The government may impose heavy tax on certain products in order to reduce the sale also, or they might give more subsidies in order to improvise the sale also. So these also will affect the supply of the commodities in the market. The sixth one is the size of the industry and the nature of the competitive condition. If there aren't any competition and he is the only one in the market, he would like to sell more and he would like to bring in more products. If there are too many people in the market, he might slowly reduce his products. The next one is expectation. If the seller thinks that the price may increase at a later date or a future date, he might introduce only very less amount of quantities at the current price and wait for a higher price. But at the same time, if there is an increase in the market trend now, and if he expects a fall later, he might increase the supply now. As already I told you, when the competition is heavy, when the number of sellers are more, when there is new entry of firms, or when there are foreign products coming in the industry also, the supply curve will shift rightwards there. There are certain other factors also which determine supply. Naturally, they are the foreign policies of the government, the goals of the firm, the infrastructural facilities of the industries, natural calamities, and then labors, their strikes or communal rights or any natural disturbances will also affect a supply in the market.